What's up, Warriors of Goku? Alright, so it's time for more discussion stuff. So, I'm put on the title, obviously you can tell from the thumbnail as well. It's Warriors Orochi 4 related, and I think this is something that really needs to get addressed because we've all mentioned it in a couple videos. I don't really know if anyone else has done like a solid video on this, but not really. I don't think anyone's ever done it, so I think they only mentioned it like during other videos and stuff like that. So I want to do this in a video on its own. So it's pretty much what the hell happened with Warriors Orochi 4. So we always are constantly seeing some really good updates and actually amazing DLC happening for Dynasty Warriors 9. And it's funny because Dynasty Warriors 9 came out like, I think like early last year, around this time last year. And so it's been around for about a year, and it's still getting all these really like decent updates and good DLC. And Warriors Orochi 4 has been out for a couple months now, and we haven't seen anything on it. We haven't seen like any new updates really in a while. We haven't seen any new DLC or anything be announced or anything like that. And it kind of just got pushed off the back burner. But what I pretty much came to the conclusion is that even though Warriors Orochi 4 was something we were all really clamoring for, and even though Dynasty Warriors was something a lot of people weren't really happy with, Dynasty Warriors in general, their franchise is still technically their biggest draw. And this is pretty much Koei Tecmo's like one of their biggest projects ever, with doing something completely new with Dynasty Warriors. And they put in like open world. They put in a whole new combat system for us. Yes, they put in the same cloned weapon kind of thing that I know everyone likes to gripe about. I'm not really going to sit here gripe about it because I, for one, don't really care that much, especially since they're bringing out DLC and all that. But that aside, I'm not really here to argue that, at least at the moment. Pretty much right now, I just want to mention, like, Dynasty Warriors is always been their biggest draw and always their biggest... Like, Dynasty Warriors in the franchise is pretty much Koei's baby, is what I pretty much put into words during someone's live stream in the chat. I always said that, and I will say this to the day I die, Dynasty Warriors is Koei Tecmo's baby. It has always been probably one of the most biggest supported ones. Like, not even Samurai Warriors, not even Warriors Orochi, which has the combination of both. Dynasty Warriors itself has always been where they make the most changes, and then like they also get the biggest pay from. So in that kind of sense, I understand that they want to try to improve Dynasty Warriors 9, maybe get more people back into it, and it's kind of working so far because I haven't really heard any really bad things about Dynasty Warriors 9, myself included, feeling this way. I haven't heard anything bad about Dynasty Warriors 9, at least recently. When it first came out, yes, this game was not great. It had a really bad first impression, I will say to that. I was someone who also mentioned that because I myself, I didn't do it based off people's reviews. I did it based off my hands-on experiences, which I would say everyone should do. But we're not here to argue about that. We're here to just mention like why it's pretty much the reason why they are more focused on Dynasty Warriors than Warriors Orochi. Like I said, their baby, their biggest draw. That's what they always go for. And so we usually see more stuff come out for Dynasty Warriors than we would at times Samurai Warriors or Warriors Orochi or whatever other Warriors thing they come up with. So it's pretty much just that's that. That's pretty much what that is. It's just That's what their biggest draw is. They're going to focus on keep improving this big game because they want this to work. I feel like they want this to work before, like, they do any spin-offs like Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, 9 Empires, and Dynasty Warriors 9 Extreme Legends. I feel like they want Dynasty Warriors 9 to be where it needs to be before they get into like any of their spin-offs. So that's why they keep updating the game. That's why they keep giving this game the most love and everything, because they know, I think they know that, yeah, we messed up, here's some things to make up for it. All these cool updates, they even mentioned in tweets that they're going to challenge themselves and like probably do something even bigger. I don't know if it's for Dynasty Warriors 9 or possibly maybe one of the spin-offs. Me personally, I hope it's them trying to do a really big update or something to like improve Dynasty Warriors 9, and maybe I feel like possibly if they ever do, I feel like they might do more DLC. Right now, this is fresh off of the DLC with the Rapier with Simisha, the Hook Swords with Yuijin, and Li Dian's Moonspade, which is actually brand new. So yes, they are recycling the old weapons and bringing them back into this DLC stuff, yes. But technically, yes and no for me, because yes, it's the same weapon that they had in the previous game. No, aside from Li Dian. It's technically new if you're putting in a new combat system with these weapons. So I feel like this is technically a new game because it's a new experience with these weapons. That's 100% my opinion. You can argue that if you want. This is just an opinion. I feel that they are definitely trying to make it... I feel like this is definitely new to me. So I feel like they're putting in these weapons. They're trying to put in these weapons, try to say they're new. And in some stance, no, they're not, because they have been in the previous game. But yes, because of this new combat system, yes, it's a new thing. So yes, that's that. But okay, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Pretty much, I also mentioned at least in the description, why... That's pretty much my reason on why they pretty much like are focusing more on Dynasty Warriors 9, because Warriors Orochi, as big of a crossover kind of game it is that most of us think, it's still not their biggest draw. It probably gets them pretty good, don't get me wrong. I don't know all the stats and everything, but from what I usually hear, Warriors Orochi is not their biggest payoff. So I feel like the biggest reason why I feel like Warriors Orochi is not really being worked on anymore, like, I don't know, maybe it is, and they're just maybe trying to do something special later on, but right now we haven't really heard anything. So what I kind of felt like, they gave us updates, they gave us DLC to keep us happy on the game for just a little bit, but then after those updates and DLC, their attention was completely on Dynasty Warriors again. So what I personally think, Warriors Orochi was just a way for us to, like, I guess people usually would say that this is their, like, apology for Dynasty Warriors 9. I think this was more along the lines of something to hold us over until they did something better with Dynasty Warriors 9. So this was just something just to hold us over, something to keep us satisfied for just a little bit. And I'll mention why the little bit is very important, because that's a whole thing. And so yeah, they were holding us over just until they can get the proper things that they needed in order to get Dynasty Warriors 9 kind of where it needs to start going. And they did do that, kind of. These updates and these new weapons and everything, and hypothetical scenarios and everything, it's pretty much getting them where they need to be to start with. I feel like it's a really good start. Now there's still things that they need to fix and everything, but because there's still the chance of bugs and stuff. That personally is what gets me about this game, and that's probably not the biggest thing. I know probably the biggest thing for people is the voice acting in English and the cloned weapons. But honestly, I just care more about the in-game, how it works in-game, like the in-game mechanics. Because sometimes it'll be a little buggy, sometimes missions won't finish or pop up in the right times and stuff like that. So I feel like that stuff is more important than just cloned weapons. But they're still appealing to those who are complaining about it and all that. So I feel like since that's really the reason why Warriors Orochi, so they can get all that stuff down and be able to get that stuff out while holding us over with Warriors Orochi 4. So not much of an apology, more of just something to keep us occupied. And in a way, it kind of did succeed, because I've been noticing a couple of other YouTubers kind of dropped Warriors Orochi 4 along with me. And it's sad, because Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, I spent so much time in that game. And also to hype you all for this game. And then they just, well, time to work on Dynasty Warriors 9. They got Warriors Orochi 4 like they wanted. So that kind of sucks in a way. So I'm hoping that that's not the end of Warriors Orochi 4. I honestly, with the way they ended the thing as well, it kind of feels like it's done. Because, like, we killed off the two main villains. We killed off the two legitimate main guys, Orochi and Orochi X, which of course you could always just do like, hey, up the ass, hey, we're back alive and stuff. But let the band rest. Or men, I guess at this point. Let the serpents rest. And then Odin and Loki are also dead. So unless they do something where, like, oh, Zeus went bad, then there's not really much else. But with that aside, so The reason why I personally have dropped it, I mentioned I've talked with like people like GrowTube, for example, GrowTube TV. He's also mentioned like, yeah, it's pretty. We're both just pretty much like, well, there isn't really much to do. We just kind of got bored of the game, and then we just like dropped it completely. And that's pretty much the main reason why. At least I'm not gonna vouch for him. Those were his words that he told me during a live stream with him doing something. And so I'm personally saying I dropped it a while back because it got boring after a while. There isn't any content to hold this game over because and it's probably unjustly because the story in the game is, I wouldn't say it was the best one, but I would definitely say it's a really good story nonetheless. It gave us a bunch of new characters and everything like that. Unfortunately, they didn't bring over the characters from Ultimate, like the spin-off characters and all that. So like Dead or Alive, Ninja Gaiden, other games, Blade Storm, not in the game, which I feel like they could have still put in, but I want to discuss that in a minute too. So like, yeah, there just wasn't enough content. Like comparing it to one of my absolute favorites, as in Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, which I spent the most time in a Warriors Orochi game ever. I pretty much had almost everyone at level 100 and prestiged in that game, so you could see the video footage if you guys ever wanted to go back to that. It's true. But it's crazy because all the content that they had in that game could keep you busy for such a long time. And I hyped up Warriors Orochi 4 because I was thinking, oh my god, they're doing something, they're giving us a brand new story, they're bringing back the series that we were wanting for so long. And it was good for like a couple weeks for me. It was good for a couple, probably a couple months for other YouTubers, but for me it was good for like a couple weeks. And then you all know, like, it dropped off the face of the planet for me. It dropped off this channel and everything, so I just kind of just brushed it away because I just got bored of it. But if they ever did bring back, like, if they ever did start doing things for Warriors Orochi again, like, I don't know if they just gonna do it for an Ultimate or for like just maybe more DLC and updates. They could still do that. So I just want to bring up a couple things that they could do to make this game, and it's small things maybe to you guys, but I think these things, this is what held me over from beginning of Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate to end of Warriors Orochi, to the release of Warriors Orochi 4, which is technically the end of Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate for me. And that is so much, all the content that was on Warriors Orochi 3 needs to be brought over to Warriors Orochi 4 or Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate as DLC or in a whole nother game. Kind of would rather prefer it just to be, maybe, in my opinion, an update maybe, because I feel like the update, because they already tried to get us with a DLC for challenge mode, and let me say, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in Koei DLC, costume packs aside, which you all know I am against as well. That was possibly one of the worst and biggest wastes of money that I've ever seen in a Warriors Orochi game. Like, they did give us the good thing of, like, extra scenarios, some actual cool-looking, like, costume packs. They even gave us some Dynasty Warriors 9 outfits for the females, which I'm a little wondering why it was the females, and that's it. But, I mean, I guess it is what it is at that point. But, like, the things I want to bring up now, because I don't want to make this drag on too long, because I might end up sounding like a broken record and all that, is pretty much just, like, first things first. Let's just go with this. Sorry, I had to take a deep breath because this is probably going to be a good amount of stuff, because this, I want to try to keep it around the same time as the gameplay I did. So I did the gameplay recording, and now I'm doing my voice recording over it. I don't like usually doing this kind of stuff, like, in the middle of gaming, so, because it throws me off. So the first thing I want to mention is, I would love, this is my biggest one. I would love to see Gauntlet mode. Gauntlet mode was the biggest thing that was happening on my channel at the time to hype up Warriors Orochi. I would give you guys, like, different, like, scenario teams and everything. It was really cool. I gave you guys, like, ninja teams. I gave you guys spear teams, sword teams, dual wielding teams, and all that jazz. It was really good. Like, Shu Army, 5 Tiger Generals. Yeah, I did that. And I could do the 5 Grand Generals or whatever the hell they're called in Wei, and probably the ones in Wu if they had one. But I think that was the reason why I didn't do the Way one. But Gauntlet mode had so much going for it. You could spend, depending on if you wanted to just get it done, yeah, you can get it done within like a couple hours, if even. But if you wanted to just like really dive into the game and just like enjoy fighting and going throughout the entire maps to find like treasures and other like portals and stuff, then that game could take hours. And that game was so much. I still haven't beaten it yet. I think I'm on the second to last or final one, probably because I didn't really give it that much time at the time. But then I realized how much fun it is once you have every character leveled up, which was my goal. And I had so much fun doing it. It was the best thing ever. I loved it to death. That thing, I spent so many hours, and you could have up to 5 characters with you in battle together to just go around Gauntlet mode and try to fight the forces of the Miasma and Hundun himself as the final boss. And you would run into just so many random people. It was like randomly generated and everything, and it made it so fresh and so enjoyable every time you jumped in. So me personally, biggest one that should come back is absolutely Gauntlet mode. Gauntlet mode was awesome. So if they ever do it as an update DLC or do something for Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate, which if it even happens, then yes, absolutely Gauntlet mode is the biggest priority in my books. The next one is maybe not the biggest one for me. Maybe you guys are, but I would have to say actually Musou Battlefields. Musou Battlefields was a really, really awesome feature. I think it may have been around in Warriors Orochi 3 as well. I can't remember. I know it wasn't Ultimate, but I don't remember everything from previous 3. But Musou Battlefield was allowing you to make all the stages in your own image. So you could just hop into like maybe the final boss. If you didn't want the final boss to be Orochi X, you could make it Nobunaga. Because I know what I did. I ended up taking that stage and I made it into a Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors one, which you all seem to have really enjoyed as well. And I made that into like one of the biggest clashes that I ever made on this channel, and it was really, really cool. So that was a huge thing as well. That was a really awesome thing that you could just make the battles, change them up, and just, you can even put your own voice lines, you can put your own officers, you could put your own kind of, let me say, you could choose which officer to have where and for what force, and you could even have like tigers and all that, and wolves and crap join you as allies, and then you could also pick like power-ups to make it harder for you, or easier for you if you wanted. And there was just so much going for Musou Battlefield as well, and I was just diving into it, and I was like, alright, I'll just pick this up on Warriors Orochi 4. Don't have it. That was one of the reasons why I dropped it. I was like, alright, well, can't do that. And what else am I going to do? The PvP that never works? I'm not even going to discuss that because that thing is dead to me right off the bat. So, duel mode was a cool thing as well. There's not much to go into that duel mode or survival mode. It's literally that. It's duel mode. You go, like, in Warriors Orochi's instance, you go 3v3, and then you just keep progressing on and on until you dead. That's it. That was pretty much it. So for future DLC, there's not really many I would like to dive into. I feel like, one, I would love to see the spin-off characters that were in Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate come back. Just because, like, yeah, they got the story with the Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors like they originally wanted. They brought them all back, and they did this whole thing with the gods and everything, and it was really cool. And yeah, that was cool. So they got their story. I feel like maybe in a DLC or in Ultimate, they could bring those characters back into, so like the Ninja Gaiden, DOA, Blade Storm, whatever the hell Achilles and Namiya were in, and what other characters I'm probably most likely missing. All those characters would be really cool to come back, because their combat system is exactly still the same. They didn't go to like the Dynasty Warriors 9 like combat system, so these characters can still work. They're still good. If you use those same combos and everything, it would still work. Another one that I would love to see, because I was really upset that these characters didn't make it into the game, is they could easily put in the Spirit of the Sanada characters, Masayuki, Sasuke. There was other characters as well, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. Those were the two biggest ones that ringed in my head at the moment. Oh, whatever that bitch name was. I can't remember her name. Cha-Cha, I think it was. Those 3 characters, and maybe others that I missed, those would be really good fits in too in this game. They would be perfect to be in this game, but for some reason, they were like, no, we're not putting Spirit of Sanada people in this game, which kind of is a letdown, because like, they're still technically with the same combat system as Samurai Warriors 4, so they would still fit in perfectly in this game. So I didn't really see the issue there. I feel like the Spirited Asanda characters would have been a really cool fit. I could see like Masayuki doing a lot of like cool like strategist stuff, because there was a couple stages where you had to use some strategy in there with like Shushu or other characters like that. I remember him specifically because I just did a DLC stage of him. But seeing all those characters in there would have been perfect. I think that would have been amazing. Sasuke doing his ninja stuff and all that, Cha-Cha being Cha-Cha with like whoever else, like Oichi or Nagamasa. I think that would have been a good fit right there. I think that would have been perfect. Have a nice little reunion, yay, or something like that. It would have been. Why were they not in the game? There were so many things that this game had. This, if anything, had potential. It was Warriors Orochi 4, but they kind of flopped on it, and that's kind of why I ended up dropping. I don't hate the game. Clearly, I don't, because I'm doing a video on it, seeing like I want this thing to succeed. I want them to still work on it. I love Warriors Orochi. It's one of my favorite franchises, and then they just dropped it to keep working on Dynasty Warriors 9. Granted, I love Dynasty Warriors 9, but that was it. They just gave us some DLC, a couple updates for Warriors Orochi, and then they went straight back to their baby Dynasty Warriors 9. Which I get, it's their biggest project yet, but at the same time, it's like, well, don't drop this one just because you want to work on your baby. Like, give this one some love too, because we all love this one too. So, like, I'm really hoping that this isn't the end of this game. I'm really hoping that, like, they either do something in maybe, like, Ultimate, or maybe they do something with, like, updates or DLC or something like that. But honestly, only time will tell with all that. So here's hoping that they do make something happen, and maybe give those things that I just mentioned back in. Those things were really cool. Maybe give something even cooler than Gauntlet Mode if you could. I don't care. As long as we see it, I don't give a crap. It was really cool. I love this. I love this series. I hyped up this game specifically for like almost an entire year when it was announced, and we didn't see it, and then they dropped it in like 2 months or something. So as someone coming as a big supporter, I really, really hope that they get to make this happen. Like, come on. We get it. We love Dynasty. You're making 9 better, but give attention to Warriors Orochi 4. That's all I'm saying. That's all. I'm not asking for much. Just a little bit of attention. Give us another game mode, or at least something. Give us something to just keep us happy over here too. But yeah. So there's not much else to go on with this. I'm trying to pretty much just go on with the thing with the gameplay right now. But aside from that, so I guess that's it, guys. That's all I wanted to mention. I just wanted to say, like, Warriors Orochi 4 deserves some love too. This game was really cool at the time, but then it ended up dropping up after a few weeks or months, or whichever one was you. But that's enough for that, guys. So if you did enjoy this, leave a like, and if you guys have your opinions of your own, leave a comment down below. And be sure to hit the sub, because we're trying to hit 500 subs before summer starts. I know you guys can do it. The power's in your guys' hands. So without further ado, guys, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.